Hi, welcome back to Dear Aunt Susan Advice on Being Human. And today's episode, we are going to ask you, what color are your undies today? Don't look. I know that sounds crazy, doesn't it? One of the really important skills that we need to learn in order to cope with the distress of life, the things that cause us grief every day, and the big events too, the traumas, death, destruction, change, moving, the things that make us go, okay. One of the important things to deal with all of that is mindfulness, staying in the moment. And real quick, before we continue, I do have to mention that if you would like to learn some new coping strategies to help you overcome all these stresses from the things that make you go, you can visit my website, www.thequietzonecoaching.com, and you can contact me through there. I offer a free assessment session. So it's an essential coping skills assessment. And that way we could see exactly where you are on the scale and what you need to do to get the coping tools that you need to get through this time of your life. And some of us just never learn them. Our parents didn't have them, so they couldn't teach us, or we came from a background of dysfunction, or we came from a background where maybe our parents were too busy, or we just never learned them. We were just never exposed to these coping skills. Because a lot of times, we don't use these coping skills always on a daily basis, even though we could, just to overcome the stresses of daily life. So let's talk about mindfulness a little bit. So what color are your undies? And no, don't look. Okay. And some of it does have to do with memory. Yeah, I know. But did you pay attention this morning? Were you thinking about what you were doing while you were doing it? Or were you focusing on what the next thing was that you had to do? By being mindful and staying in the moment and focusing and experiencing and getting the feel for the moment that we're in right now, that takes a lot of our anxiety away, because anxiety is like future facing. It's thinking and worrying about what may or may not happen. Okay. The only moment that's real is right now. Think about that. We spend 100% of our time on this planet in right now. The past is gone. There is nothing we can do about that other than learning the lessons of mistakes that we've made. And we can't do anything about the future. We can plan for it, but our expectations and our plans are meaningless. It may or may not happen. The future is going to unfold based upon what happens right now, doesn't it? So what I want you to do is to experience, and what I'm looking at over here is the worksheet that I give to my clients. That is the information that I'm giving you right now. This is just the same stuff that I give to my clients. I want you to learn how to experience the moment, get the feel of it, understand the vibe. Do you know how different parts of your house feel different at different times of day just because of the light that's coming in? Think about how that feels. Okay. We're not going to remember necessarily what was happening on a logical level, but we will remember how events make us feel. And that is part of the process of grief. Grief doesn't necessarily have to do with death. It has to do with change. And that's what I help people do is learn how to navigate that change. And by staying in the moment and paying attention to what you are doing right now, what focus on your activity at the moment. Think about it, experience it. What's it like? What's the vibe like? What do things feel like? That's what you want to focus on. Okay. And we are going to talk in the next episode a little bit about, well, what happens when the moment that I'm in kind of sucks. Okay. And we're going to talk about how to turn that around. Okay. And finding positivity and gratitude. For the moment, though, what I want you to do is stay here and now. And there are some exercises that I'm going to give you right now to teach you how to do that. The first thing is to slow down. Okay, we are always running around like chickens with our heads cut off. Yes, that's an old expression. Those of you who are younger probably don't know what that means. But we got to slow down. Okay, we go too fast. Multitasking isn't good. Focus on right now. Do it one step at a time. Take your time. If you answer the door 5 seconds later, it's not going to make a difference. Okay. Um, Taste every bit of food that you're eating while you're eating. Think about the aromas and the flavors. Okay, this is a big diet tip, as a matter of fact. Shake up your routine. Do things in a different order. Take a different route to work or to school, whatever you happen to be doing. Pay attention to your environment. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? What are the noises that you hear? One of the great mindfulness exercises that I love to practice is to listen to the ambient sounds of what's going on around me. So when I'm driving in the car and other people pass me, there's this sound that goes whoosh, whoosh, and I pay attention every time somebody passes me the other way. Really great for keeping you in the moment. You can also pay attention to how your clothes feel on your body. I encourage people to wear things that feel comfortable, buy clothes that are comfortable, because you can say, oh, wow, this feels so good. This sweater, this shirt, the pants, whatever it is that I'm wearing, wow, these feel really good. Pay attention to how your feet feel in your shoes. Notice whether or not you're stepping on the cracks on the sidewalk or not. Okay. Like when you were a kid, step on a crack, break your mother's back. Don't step on the cracks. Pay attention. What else are some of these other ones here? Observing the sensations of your body. Pay attention to your breathing. I mean, wow, sometimes I forget that. That's like a super basic one. Pay attention to your breathing. In and out. Really easy way to be focused on the moment. Um, every day you could pick something that you can decide to focus on. Am I focusing on the way things sound or the way things look? One of my favorite activities when I'm washing the dishes is to focus on the colors in the soap bubbles and to look at them. You could take an unpleasant and distasteful, I just made up a new word, displeasant, an unpleasant task and make it pleasant just by finding some interesting things. Be curious about what's going on around you. Be curious about the sounds that you hear. Think about, oh, here we go. This is a really good one. You can always do, when you are in the middle of a stressful situation, you can do what I call a 30-second meditation. So that means just focusing on a body part or an object, like pick up, I'm going to take a highlighter out of my jar over here, and I'm going to just look at it and feel it and observe it. What does it look like? What color is it? What's it made of? What shapes? There's a circle here and here's a triangle there. Focus on it. 30 seconds. What that does is it stops the spiral of anxious thoughts and calms you right down. Another thing that you can do is take your finger and trace the outline of your other hand like this. And that soft touching sensation, that is very soothing, and it also calms you right down and brings you back to the moment. So I want you to take this week and practice mindfulness, practice being mindful. And next week, we're going to talk about turning things around, finding positivity and gratitude, and something called the new car factor. These are really important gold standard techniques and tools that you can use for coping. And once again, if you feel like you need some help coping with the changes of life that come from the pandemic or the changes that come after moving, starting a new school or starting a new job, or from somebody passing away that you love, there is always grief and loss over what has changed, even if it's not a death. So if you need help dealing with that, please go to www.thequietzonecoaching.com and reach out to me. Go to the contact page and say, hey, I need some help, and I will get back to you. We will give you a free assessment, an essential coping skills assessment, to see what it is that's going on in your life and how I can help you get where you want to be. So until next week, namaste. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you then. This is Dear Aunt Susan from the Quiet Zone Coaching, signing off.